Good Friday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Friday evening going into your future. We have made it, finally, after what it seems has been, for some, maybe the longest week of existence. For me, it was short. But we've made it through. It's Friday, and we now have a great weekend to look at. We have some changes overall with the weather, and we're going to talk about that. But for right now, it's the end of the work week, so let's go on and give ourselves a round of applause for that. So, so there's a couple of things that we're going to talk about tonight, and we're going to look at what's on tap real quick. Number one, we're going to talk about a significant warming trend tonight through the weekend. We're also going to talk about mostly quiet and mostly, want to put that emphasis on mostly, rain-free through the weekend. Warmest days likely, being tomorrow through Monday, and a cold front early next week will bring a minor cool down. So, we talked about this weekend being really dry. Well, there's a bit of a change. In fact, there was a pretty big change that happened today, which some people were a bit surprised. A lot of well-respected meteorologists were a bit shocked by what they put out today for tomorrow. And I'm going to show you that once we get towards that portion. But for right now, let's go in and talk about current. Currently, right now, we have no rainfall going on throughout the entire state. Completely rain-free. You're not seeing a single drop inside of the sky. But if we go in and scroll our way out, that's where things start to take a change. You start to see rainfall over here from Massachusetts down all the way into the New York City area, Philadelphia, going on to New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina. All of these areas receiving rainfall. West Virginia, parts of Ohio, Minnesota seeing some rainfall up here inside the west, the northern Rockies, from Idaho, Montana, Washington State, going into Oregon. Rainfall, snowfall in Maine as well. And so all of these areas right now are seeing a good amount of rainfall. There also is, critical fire conditions that are going to be going on. And we'll talk about that once we get towards the end and we talk about the entire U.S. Cloud cover right now, it's pretty widespread out there. I mean, you see cloud cover from the low country to the Grand Strand, the PD areas. You're seeing it in the upstate. Midlands, not as much, but there still is mostly cloudy skies out there right now as we currently speak. So, good amount of cloud cover going on right now. And even if we go and look at that cloud cover for the future, you're going to push this forward all the way through 9 o'clock, 10, 11 to 12 o'clock in the morning. You can see cloud cover again, kind of trying to move its way over towards the east. But look at that second round that comes in right after 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. That cloud cover moving now down from the south, from the north, from North Carolina, Tennessee, and going to continue to impact us even as we get into tomorrow morning. I mean, this is 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, going into 10 a.m. Cloud cover going on still, but it does seem to try and dissipate as we get into tomorrow afternoon. Now, if we look at the 18Z real quick, and we check and we see what's going on even further into the future, you can see cloud cover again still going on throughout a good amount of the evening hours. I mean, on Saturday, you go all the way through to Sunday morning, still cloud cover there. But it seems to be mainly just stuck inside of that upstate area, maybe even that PD area as well. So that's what's going on in terms of cloud cover. Cloud cover pretty much just kind of showing itself, but also it's not really throughout the entire state. It's really only throughout a couple of regions. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 57 in Somerville, as well as Charleston, 58, Beaufort, and 58 in Hilton Head Island, 61 in Orangeburg, and 55 in Georgetown, 54 in Conway, and 56 in Myrtle Beach, 56 in Murrells Inlet, as well as 61 in Florence, 61 Sumter and Orangeburg, as well as 63 in Aiken, 64 in Columbia, and 61 in Lugos, 63 inside of Lancaster, and 60 in Newbury, 62 in Lawrence, Greenwood, 63 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, York, and 62 in Rock Hill, 64 in Clemson and Anderson. Air quality for tonight, we're all inside of a moderate for tonight in terms of our air quality, which is not bad, pretty normal. Not too far off from good. So I say that this is not bad at all. Just just enjoy the night as you regularly would at this point, in terms of air quality. And, it's going to be a good night overall. Because, you're seeing low temperatures tonight: 55 in Greenville, 56 in Spartanburg, as well as Rock Hill, 55 in Newberry, Greenwood, Winsboro, Columbia. You even see 53 in Sumter, 54 in Florence, and 51 in Kingstree, 50 in Moncks Corner, and 54 in Charleston, 50 in Walterboro, and even 55 in Hilton Head Island, 52 in Georgetown, and 54 also inside of Myrtle Beach, 53 in Aiken. And for your high temperatures for tomorrow, just look at these high temperatures: 83 in Greenville, 82 Spartanburg, 82 Rock Hill, even 85 in Columbia, Camden, Sumter, 83 in Florence, and 83 in Kingstree, Moncks Corner, 85 in Orangeburg, 80 Charleston, Georgetown, 75 in Myrtle Beach, 80 in Hilton Head Island. Now, in terms of your rainfall is actually going to be possible as we move throughout the next 24 hours. And remember, I said there was a couple of meteorologists who were a bit interested and a bit caught off guard with this risk that I'm about to tell you about in about, I'd say around like a good minute or two. But yes, the mostly dry weekend that we were just looking at yesterday has a little bit of a rain chance for tomorrow. Now, it's mainly up there inside the upstate, Low Country, Grand Strand, PD areas. Not really too much concerned with this. It's mainly just up there in the upstate. So 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch goes in for Anderson, maybe Lawrence, maybe Greenwood, Winsboro, potentially Rock Hill. 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch in Spartanburg, and somebody may even see around a quarter of an inch to a half an inch. It's possible. Definitely is possible up there inside the far upstate. Now for the crazy score. If you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And yes, you see that correctly. We are at a 5 for tonight. Last time we've seen a 5, it's been a long time since we've been down this low. We were at a 6, I believe, last night, and then I believe we were at a 7 this morning. So it's continuing to kind of trickle its way down. It won't really last too long because I think tomorrow morning it's going to go right back up into double digits. But for now, we're talking about low numbers. So 5, no significant weather, clear skies, light clouds ongoing, and pretty much that's what we just talked about over inside of our forecast for the cloud cover as well, because that mainly being the main area of why this could potentially go up a little bit more, just do that cloud cover, because winds are calm, no precipitation. You're not talking about any sort of fog threat, freezing threat, anything like that. Frost risk as well, all of that not really going on. So here's what I was talking about. So tonight, we're good. We're not expecting any sort of thunderstorm activity. But tomorrow, we have a marginal risk of severe weather. If you saw by the intro, you can get a hint of what our highest SPC outlook or excessive rainfall outlook is. So since we had the green screen, that's either a marginal risk of severe weather or a marginal risk of excessive rainfall. And so that's what this whole sign in the front means. This is what this whole starting soon scream starts. And if you see this one, it's nothing, meaning that, we don't have anything to worry about. But yes, we do have a marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow. What are the hazards with it? What are the hazards? Well, for the most part, isolated hail. That's definitely going to be a big threat. Isolated hail. In fact, that's the only threat. Winds, we're not looking for any damaging winds. We're not looking for any isolated tornadoes or anything like that. But isolated damaging hail of up to an inch in diameter is possible as we go into tomorrow. And we'll go in and look at it. I think it's really only going to be like an isolated storm or two that could potentially get up to 1 inch in diameter hail. But a chance is still a chance. That's why this entire area is highlighted, because everybody in this area has a risk for it. So we're going to go on. We're going to look at the models. We're going to look at the ingredients. We're going to see all of this stuff and break it down for you. Sunday comes along and no thunderstorms are expected on Sunday, so we are good there. And let's go on now and look at fire weather. Nothing here. Excessive rainfall. Nothing here as well. It's just looking like, for the most part, besides that little severe weather risk right there, nothing else really is going on, and that was kind of expected. That was expected. We weren't expecting to see a whole bunch of severe weather, excessive rainfall as we go into like this week, just in general, going into this weekend. We weren't really expected to see that in general. But that's just for excessive rainfall and severe weather and stuff like that. So let's go and look at the actual models. Let's go and look at the actual models because those are important. Those are definitely very, very important to talk about. And so we're going to look at the ARRR first. And we're going to start, there we go. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., 10 o'clock, just moving our way forward. And what do you see? You don't see anything. I mean, we get to Saturday, 9 o'clock in the morning. We're dry. Some of us having some not so fun in the sun, but most of us definitely are having fun in the sun as we go into Saturday. Then we move all the way to Saturday, 3 o'clock p.m., 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then there they go. Those little pop-up showers and storms that occur up here inside of the upstate, that's what we're looking at in terms of our isolated hail makers. That's around 7 o'clock p.m., and they push their way down 8 o'clock p.m., 9 o'clock p.m., and you can see them clearly, how they move their way down towards the south and east and kind of phase out a little bit, fizzle out as you get into like the PD areas. So that kind of goes past the 7 o'clock p.m. time frame, so that's why that wasn't inside of the accumulation. And we can even look at the composite reflectivity as well. But, we go into Saturday, moving forward all the way to 7 o'clock p.m. I mean, you can see definitely this rainfall over here becoming a bit heavy. Obviously that isolated damaging hail of up to an inch is possible. That moves all the way through 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it continues its way through all the way here Sunday at 2 o'clock in the morning. Still brings some rainfall throughout the state, but it fizzles out as you get into like the more kind of normal early-ish morning hours on Sunday, around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning or so. And then the rest of Sunday, we look good. So let's go on and check out the thunderstorm risk because, that's just really the breakdown. Like I said, it's only going to be like a couple of storms that really pop off. It's not going to be like a whole widespread system that causes rainfall all throughout the state. We're not expecting that. We're just expecting some isolated storms to pop up. So let's look at the lightning first. See if the models even think there's even going to be any thunderstorms. And if we go on and push this forward, I just pushed all the way through. Did we even see anything? I didn't even see anything in terms of flash density. No, I haven't even seen anything yet in terms of lightning or anything like that. So this model right here, the ARRR for the 18Z, doesn't really seem too fond of any sort of thunderstorm activity, at least for the 18Z. Now let's go and look at the ingredients, see if the ingredients are there or not. Well, if we go and look at the dew points are, they're going to be like isolated, but, yeah, you could see some pockets up to 60. You definitely can, but it's not going to be the most for everybody else, which is why it's not such a huge threat. And then, you go on and look at any sort of winds up in the upper atmosphere. You really don't need that much wind, especially if you're talking about, like, just a hail threat. If you really want to see that wind threat or that tornado threat, that's when you want to start to see that wind shear start to go up. But, just a little hail threat like this. We do have some around 30 to 40 knots, but nothing too crazy. And then finally, Cape. Cape being one of the more looked at. And there is some Cape definitely in the atmosphere. You see some 600 joules per kilogram, and look on the sounding does say marginal severe, and it says some hail is possible in there. So the ingredients are there. Will the thunderstorms be there? That's a great question. Will the thunderstorms be there? And that's all that I can say here throughout the short-term future. So that's the risk covered for tomorrow. If you have any questions about that, go on and ask so. And then let's go on and look at the long-term future. So after that system is said and done, we're in Sunday afternoon at this point, and the rest of Sunday looks good. Monday comes along and brings in some rainfall, maybe to the other half of the state. That goes from the Midlands, the Grand Strand, the Low Country on Monday of next week, so watch out for some rainfall there. Tuesday comes along, still some more rainfall potentially on the next day, Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday comes along, and you start to see some rainfall here and there. But you don't really see a whole bunch in terms of like a storm activity, in terms of severe weather, in terms of excessive rainfall. You're not really seeing that. You're just seeing more of just like a little rainfall event kind of occurring. And that continues all the way through. We're now Sunday, March the 29th, 200 hours out into the future. And as you continue this forward even more, you're not seeing much. Finally, I start to kind of see something as we move into like the early couple of days of April. And I see a little low pressure out to sea, but that's 300 hours out, so that could easily just phase away real quickly. So we're not really looking for too much in terms of like full on storm activity. It looks like that if we do get some rainfall, it's just going to be some regular rainfall, thunderstorms here or there, but nothing really too severe, nothing, in terms of excessive rainfall. We always can see a little pop up shower or storm that could potentially be severe, like how we see it, the risk for tomorrow. I mean, we weren't really expecting that for tomorrow until they just added it earlier this afternoon, and I think it was around like 1 or 2 o'clock p.m. they added it. So honestly, those could pop up any day. Those could pop up any day. And we're getting closer, towards the summertime. And, those summer pop up severe weather threats always happen. We always see them. And now spring, not really too different. Not really too different either. Especially once you get like more hot, you get more humidity going throughout the atmosphere. And just overall that warm, moist, summer type atmosphere takes place, all options are on the table. But we'll see more of that obviously going into summertime to where we see like a chance of rainfall every single day. But that's pretty much all that I have to say here in terms of the long-term future, in terms of convection. I mean, like I said, not too much except for tomorrow. Next week, we get some rainfall there. But, I mean, for the most part, that's all. Let's go on and look at the temperature anomalies. Because obviously we know there's a cold front coming in Monday, going into Tuesday. And so you can see we're warmer than average as we go into this weekend. We're nice, having fun in the sun, maybe some clouds. But for the most part, we're doing good. We are doing good. We move all the way through into Monday. Monday comes along, and then we move into Tuesday. And Tuesday brings in a little weak front, a little weak cold front that makes its way through on Tuesday. And we're around a good 5 to 10 degrees below average. Not bad. Definitely not bad at all. Moving into Wednesday, though, things start to get a little bit cooler. But warm air tries to take over as we get into Thursday of next week. Now we go into Friday. Friday comes along, brings in some more warm air. And then the real cold front will move through. Like the real, potentially, some areas frigid, freezing temperatures, like in the very far upstate, could occur as we go into next week. Now, I will say, if you go on and compare this model run from tonight into the model run for tomorrow, it was a bit more of a, honestly, more of a downtrend from yesterday. I mean, you see, look at the difference from, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi from today, and look at what it said yesterday. I mean, a huge difference. Look at what it said the day before that. I mean, just huge difference on huge difference. This front that's moving its way through on Friday of next week, the more that we get closer to it, the more weaker that it starts to trend. So hopefully that continues, because if that does continue, we may not be talking about, so low of temperatures. So that's something that we may have to keep an eye on. But again, that's still like 180 hours out or so we still have a long way to go for that. And I think that even though, the early parts of it may not seem so bad, maybe as we move a bit into more into the weekend, it may start to intensify. So maybe the more earlier parts won't be so bad, but then once you get more into the Saturday part, meaning that the cold front potentially could have shifted a little bit, making it kind of move in a little bit later. That's definitely a possibility. So a lot of things are still shifting. A lot of things are still shifting right now. We move into next weekend, and then we go into the week after next week. Monday comes along, and I look at that, another cold air mass trying to move through as you go into early parts of April. So if you think that we're done with cold air, absolutely not. I mean, we're going to be getting cold air blast after cold air blast after cold air blast over and over and over and over again. So it's going to continue to occur. It's going to continue to happen. Now, what about for our future? In terms of our actual temperatures, not anomalies or anything like that, actual temperatures. We're going to go in and push this forward all the way through. Obviously, we know this weekend we're going to get up into the 80s, all the way through Monday up to the 80s. But then as we go into Tuesday, going into Wednesday, you're going to have high temperatures up into the 60s and 50s, and maybe even on Wednesday, high temperatures only getting up to the 40s for some areas up there in the upstate. So pretty cold as you go into midweek next week. But then temperatures will start to rise. Thursday, 70s, 80s coming along. We going all the way into Friday. Temperatures all the way up into like the mid 80s at this point. So, a lot of good things here that we're seeing if you're a warm weather fan as you go into late parts of next week. But remember, the cold front moves through as soon as Friday is pretty much done with. So, this starts to bring in some more cooler temperatures. I mean, we're talking about some more 30s and 40s, but one thing that you don't see is the frigid, freezing temperatures. Let me show you something. This goes all the way from, this is today's forecast. Let me show you the day before yesterday. Let me show you Wednesday. You see how much of a difference that is? I mean, we were talking about freezing temperatures all the way from Greenville all the way down to Myrtle Beach just a couple of days ago on Wednesday. Look at Friday. A huge difference. Huge difference. So when I say that this cold front, it's either, downtrending a lot or may just move in at a later time, which may not make the temperatures as bad. Or it may even be a little combination of both. Maybe a little combination of both. But after that's said and done, we move into Monday, Tuesday. Obviously, we know we have another little front trying to move its way through as we move into, Wednesday-ish of next week. And so that could bring some more cooler conditions as well. But let's go and look at the actual ensemble. So this just tells us, you're not really supposed to look too much at the temperatures here. It gives us an average of temperatures, but it's really just supposed to show us, what's going on in terms of our warm air, in terms of our cool air, and stuff like that. And so, one thing that you can see for sure is as we move our way forward, which I think this is a bit... No, this is not even what I want. I want the actual temperatures. Let me switch to the mean real quick. But if you go in and push this forward, I mean, we're talking about pretty mild conditions as we continue all the way through. Here's March the 31st right here. And then you can start to see those temperatures, again, kind of staying a bit stationary. So I don't think the ensembles really have the idea too much of a cold air mass coming in the week after next week going into that Tuesday. So that's something to watch for sure. Because remember, the GFS, the deterministic ones, just showed a full-on system trying to come through, trying to drop our temperatures even more as we go into the week after next week. And, this is right here on Thursday, April the 2nd. Look at the GEFS, the ensemble. The ensemble doesn't really have it dropping too much. Does not have it dropping too much. I think it has it dropping just a little bit, but, temperatures dropping just a little bit, but not really as much. But I do see a little bit of a decrease. There. So that's what pretty much is going on throughout our future. Nothing else really too much to talk about. Let me make sure I covered everything. There we go. Cold front early next week. I mean, most of this stuff actually was from just short term, not too much in terms of long term, except for that little minor cool down next week, but that's about it. And so that's all I have to say. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say here for tonight. Starting off, my Aunt Lula was here first tonight. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Hopefully everyone had a blessed day. Well, thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris also says, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for asking. Currently, it's 59 degrees here in Moncks Corner. Got up to around 76. Well, at my house today, right now it's 59, and the high temperature for today was 73. So 73, right now it's 59. Please remember to go and hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free. Helps the channel grow. Absolutely correct. Right now we've had around a good 9 people tune in and only 6 likes. So if you are part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. My Aunt Lewis says today in Georgetown the high was 68. Currently it's 56. Miss Chris says having a wonderful day with the wife, got a lot accomplished. Well, I'm glad to hear that from you. And then my Aunt Lewis says we had a beautiful day today. So it seemed like most of us had a great day today. Not only, just regular good day-wise, but also weather-wise as well. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Loving this clear sky. Minor cool down. Minor won't last long. And then Thad says, good evening just from the 360 Weather family. Well, good evening to you. And that's all. So, nothing else for me to say here inside the chat. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations? What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go in and give them their forecast for them. That, and then also, we're going to tune back in and look at the entire U.S. as well. We'll look back at South Carolina again, and we'll just see what's ending off as we end off for tonight. So starting off with San Antonio first, you have low temperatures tonight at 59, high temperature for tomorrow at 94, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 59. Precipitation tonight and tomorrow, not expected at this time. So I see Thad just says it was a fantastic day here in San Antonio. Today's high was 90. Well, it's going to be even hotter tomorrow. It's going to be even hotter tomorrow and Sunday as well. In terms of your, like I said, precipitation, severe weather, excessive rainfall, none of that's expected. You do have a little risk of some breezy conditions on Sunday. 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible on Sunday and Sunday night, which is not crazy. You know, you've seen that before, so nothing really too interesting to talk about. Now, in terms of your future, you know, we'll cool down to like the 80s a little bit Monday and Tuesday, but don't worry, those temperatures are going to be climbing its way right back up. Wednesday, 91, Thursday, 92, 89 on Friday, so it's going to die back down, go back up, down between like those high 80s and those mid to low 90s. For Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 54, high temperature for tomorrow at 78, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 55. Precipitation is possible tonight. There's a slight chance of showers tonight. And then tomorrow, no precipitation is expected. Severe weather and excessive rainfall. I forgot to mention this for South Carolina, so if you're still here from South Carolina, well, you get some more information. But on Monday, March the 23rd, 2026, there is a risk of fire weather. A 40 to a 69% chance, includes areas like Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Columbia, going near Greenwood, over there near Pageland, Cheraw, Dillon, all these areas over here from the upstate over into like the northern Midlands and the northwestern PD areas. All of these areas have a risk of fire weather as we go into Monday, March the 23rd. Now, it's a 40 to a 69% chance, so, not the highest of the highest, but still, don't burn anything if you don't have to on Monday. Same thing, not only inside of South Carolina, but also inside of Raleigh as well. Make sure that you're not burning anything either, because you are also included in that risk. But other than that, precipitation for you is not going to be expected until like Friday. So you still have a little bit long. You still have a little bit longer left until you go in and see that next chance of rainfall, unless something changes and Tuesday or Wednesday you get like a random 20-30% chance of rainfall comes along, and that happens all the time. But for right now, it looks good. Now, in terms of your temperatures, you're definitely going to be warming up. 78 tomorrow, 86 on Sunday. But then as that cold air moves in on Tuesday, it's going to die down to 60 degrees. But it will climb right back up. 73 on Thursday, 76 on Friday. So those, cold temperatures aren't going to really last too long. Then for Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 50, high temperatures for tomorrow at 61, then low temperatures tomorrow night at 44. Showers are expected tonight. In fact, you have light rain going on right now as we currently speak. Precipitation not expected tonight, for tomorrow, or tomorrow night. And the next chance of rainfall will be around Sunday with a 70% chance of rainfall Sunday night going into Monday morning. Now, in terms of your severe weather, that's not expected. For your future, though, temperatures looking like you're going to be around 72 on Sunday, 53 on Monday, 50 on Tuesday. So your temperatures are going to be dropping big time as you go into Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday comes along, and then Thursday, Friday staying in the 50s. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight at 58, high temperature for tomorrow at 96. Yes, it's going to be boiling hot tomorrow, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 63. Precipitation not expected, and that's only going to aid in with your Sunday, March the 22nd fire weather risk, a 40 to a 69% chance of critical conditions hitting the area, obviously, of Duncan, includes most of Oklahoma. And, just don't burn anything if you don't have to on Sunday. Don't burn anything on Sunday if you don't have to. And so that's all that I can see here throughout the 4 areas. So let's see what's going on right now throughout the entire U.S. weather news wise. See if you know anybody throughout the U.S. that you may want to hear about. Well, here it is. A rare March heat wave is ongoing with much above normal temperatures over the southwest U.S. through this weekend. Periods of critical fire weather will persist all the way from the central Rockies to the central and southern plains through the weekend as gusty winds and low relative humidity continues. A Kona low will also continue to bring several rounds of moderate to heavy rainfall to Hawaii through Sunday. There was some flash flood emergencies, I believe, over there inside of Hawaii, so they had some very dangerous rainfall moving its way over there into Hawaii. So that's something interesting to keep an eye on. But other than that, nothing else too crazy. Just the heat wave going on in the southwest, some fire weather going on in the central U.S., dense fog advisories along the lakes in New York, and you have some fire weather here and there also throughout parts of like Louisiana. I see some more special weather statements here and there. So, but for the most part, that's about it. Nothing too crazy else going on. There is one more thing though. There is one more thing. And it is. Let me see if I can get it real quick. No, that's not what I want, but I guess that'll work. If you know anybody, this is for Sunday. Over there, like in southern Indiana, Ohio, western Pennsylvania, northern West Virginia, and even northern Kentucky, they have some severe weather that's coming for them as you go into Sunday. So that's something just to go on and look at. And just if you know anybody in those areas, let them know. And if I want to go on and get any specific town names, inside the slight risk, the level 2 out of 5, that's areas like Indianapolis, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Louisville. And then in the green, which is the level 1 out of 5, the marginal risk, Cleveland, Ohio, Lexington, Fayette, Akron, Evansville, and Allentown, Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of areas that are included. I think around 30 million people are included in that. So that's what we're looking at there. And honestly, it looks like almost all hazards are possible. And I mean, I see supercells are possible, damaging winds, and large hail. So all hazards are possible there as you go into Sunday. And I think that's all that I have to say here. So make sure that if you've not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also hit the subscribe button. We're at 724, trying to get to 800. Also hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because it's free and you can change your mind at any time. That said, my weather seems to be yo-yoing. Same thing pretty much over here inside of South Carolina as well. And then my Aunt Lewis says, I was hoping that that grandson who's in Philly would get a break. That looks better at around 61. Yeah, I mean, for right now, yeah, 61 for tomorrow definitely is a lot better. Definitely is a lot better. But like I said, as you move into next week, it's going to continue to cool right back down again. Not too bad, though. Not too bad. I don't see anything inside of my email for me, so I'm assuming we're done there. So let's go on and check out the top fans, and then we'll be out of here for tonight. Let's see. I'm going and count them up. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, honestly, I really don't even have to count. Mr. Chris definitely got it for tonight. And then, in terms of second, my Aunt Lou is there at number 2 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 coming in. And then Thad coming in third with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coming in. So, congratulations to the three of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. early. Also being active and being a subscriber. Because if you're not a subscriber, you can't participate in the first place anyway. So it's not even going to matter. So go ahead and do all of those 4 things if you want to go on and be a part of the top fans. So let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. And that's all that I have to say. So I will be back tomorrow morning with your Saturday morning forecast update, and then tomorrow evening for your Saturday evening forecast update. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave.